Johnny Manziel won the Heisman. Ohio State finished 12-0, but were banned from postseason play, which led to Wisconsin playing in the Big Ten Championship despite finishing third in the Big Ten Leaders Division. Remember those Leaders and Legends divisions? Meanwhile, Notre Dame was on the hunt for its first national championship since 1988, and the defending champs, Alabama, they were looking to go back-to-back. Let's break down 2012. We usually like to start on Thanksgiving week, but here, let's start on November 11th. The number one team in the country, Kansas State. Don't look so surprised. Number 2, Oregon. Number 3, Notre Dame. Those are our undefeated teams. At number 4, we had the defending national champion, Alabama, who had just lost to A&M and the Heisman winner, 29-24. Johnny threw for 253 and 2, and he added 92 yards on the ground. Number 5, Georgia. Their only loss was to South Carolina. Number 6, Florida, lost to Georgia, 17-9 on October 27th. Number 7, LSU, losses to Florida and Alabama. The SEC was just beating up on each other. Texas A&M did climb to 8 after beating Alabama. Then the following week, both number 1 and number 2 lost on the same day. Kansas State got wrecked by Baylor 52-24, and Oregon lost to Stanford 17-14. So let's pull up the rankings again. Give Kansas State and Oregon a loss. Everyone else won. Insert a refresh button, hit it, and there we go. Now we're on to Thanksgiving week. How did the games play out? Number 1, Notre Dame beat USC 22-13. Number 2, Alabama shut out Auburn 49-0. Amari Cooper caught 5, scored 2, and tacked on 109 yards. Number 3, Georgia handled Georgia Tech easily. Number 4, Florida beat Florida State in a top 10 matchup 37-26. And let's move on to conference championship weekend. Where's the Big 12 logo? Well, this was one of those years where the Big 12 did not have a championship game. It was also Texas A&M's first year in the SEC, so Kansas State played Texas in their final regular season game, winning 42-24. That gave Kansas State a share of the Big 12 title with Oklahoma. And yes, they did beat Oklahoma earlier in the season, but at this time the Big 12 only had 10 teams, meaning everyone played each other. Oklahoma beat Baylor, Kansas State did not, so they shared the title. Honestly, should have just ran it back and called it a title game. SEC championship, number 2 Alabama beat number 3 Georgia 32-28. Pac-12 championship, Stanford beat UCLA 27-24. In the Big 10, Wisconsin defeated Nebraska 70-31. ACC championship, Florida State topped 6-6 Georgia Tech 21-15. And number 1 Notre Dame, they watched from home. So let's look at the final rankings. Remember, BCS era, only the top 2. Number 6, the Pac-12 champ. Number 5, the Big 12 co-champ. Number 4, Oregon. Number 3, Florida. Neither team played in a conference championship since Oregon lost to Stanford and Florida lost to Georgia. That gives us number 2, Alabama, and number 1, Notre Dame in the BCS championship. And if you're curious how the odds makers would have stacked everyone else up against Notre Dame, Florida would have played as a 1.5-point dog, Oregon would have been favored by 4, and Kansas State would have been even. Everyone would have been underdogs to Alabama, including Notre Dame, who was a 9.5-point dog. Alabama won by 28, and the Tide went back-to-back.